And the whole of the classification is written over here. We can see that the name of the family is the name of the genus itself. Now coming to the occurrence of the habitat. Means the place where the plant is growing or it is surviving. So we have coleochaete which is growing epiphytically on the leaves and stems of the aquatic plants like hydrilla as well as Potamogeton. And moreover, this also grows epiphytically on the other algae also. Algae like Odogonium and Wachilia, on which this plant grows. And secondly, we can say some species of the coleochaete occur on the shells as well as they are occurring on the laboratory aquariums also, where we are putting up the shells and other species, animal species. There also coleochaete it can grow. And it also is present in the freshwater littoral zones, where we have several species of the coleochaete which are growing epiphytically. So another thing which we have to see when we see the occurrence as well as the structure of the coleochaete, then we have one thing which is not very normal in the algae, that is the presence of heterotrichous nature of the thallus. Because normally when we talk about the thallus structure in the algae, we say it is multicellular, it is filamentous form, or it is branched filaments or unbranched filaments, then we have siphonaceous forms. But heterotrichous nature is particular to the coleochaete and one another member which we have in our course in the Phaeophyta, that is Ectocarpus. These two plants show us heterotrichous nature of the thallus. Now what do we mean by heterotrichous nature? That means there are two types of filaments. They form two systems. One is prostrate system and second is erect system. So this type of arrangement when it is present in the thalli, then that is known as the heterotrichous thallus. The two kind of filaments are there which are forming the two systems. Now the coleochaete thallus is much branched. It has much branched filaments, and the thallus consists of a definite prostrate system, because depending upon the different species we have seen that some of the species of the coleochaete show us only the prostrate system and some of them show only the erect system and some of them show us the both. In some species of the coleochaete, we have the filaments which are joined in the center and they form a prostrate system of the thallus which consists of scattered filaments. I am drawing this diagram just to give you an idea, but like I have told you that certain species contain only prostrate system, certain species contain only, we can say, the erect system, and some of them contain both, that is prostrate as well as erect system. And now in most of the cases we can say the prostrate system is dominant, because these filaments, like I told you, they are branched. Prostrate system, as you are aware, parallel to the ground. Erect is, we can say, perpendicular to the ground, and prostrate is parallel to the ground. And then in this, the filaments, they are growing more or less, we can say, like I have seen from the central point, and they are branching irregularly to form a monostromatic thallus. Now, what do we mean by monostromatic thallus? You note down this term. I would like to ask from you tomorrow that what is monostromatic. You have to find it out. And this we can say that means it consists of branched filaments, and branches are produced by the protrusion from the main filament, means they are arising from the outgrowths of the main filament. Protrusion means outgrowths of the main filament. The thallus also we can say in some of the cases like the colloquiate scutellata, in which in this species of colloquiate the thallus is regular and circular. As you can see, we have the cells which are quite closely attached, and if we see the appearance of the thallus, then it appears to be circular. The upper view of the thallus gives us the circular outline. I am just drawing the how. Another thing which we find, we can see over here is that they contain the fibrillar outgrowths which we call it as seta. So we can say, as you can see over here, if we talk about monostromatic thallus, that the cells or the filaments, they are losing their entity. In the above we can see the filament, we can see the cells, but when we are talking about the circular thallus, then we are not seeing the individual filament in it. So that means they are losing their entity and they are not easily recognizable, all the filaments. Then coming to the cell structure or the cell shape. Now the cell shape in the case of colloquiate varies from prostrate to erect system. In the prostrate system, the cells, they are usually hexagonal, means they are six-sided, or in other words we can say when we cannot count the number of corners, or we say it is octagon or heptagon, so simply we use the term polygonal. When it is beyond, we can say 4 or 5 in number, and or in fact up to 6 we say the hexagonal in shape, like see like this. This is hexagonal shape. So cells in the prostrate system can be hexagonal, or in other words we can say they are polygonal in shape. And in some cases we can say in the erect system we may have either cylindrical or they are more longer than broad. When they are more longer than broad, then also we use the term cylindrical also. So it depends upon, we can say whether we call circular or cylindrical type of cells are there. But the cells of the prostrate system show us, we can say, many-sided cell. Then coming to the cell structure. Now each cell has, we can say, single nucleus. So uninucleate cells are there, whether it is a prostrate system, whether it is an erect system. Uninucleate cell with single large curved protoplast, and that curved chloroplast, that chloroplast we also use the term for this, that is parietal. Parietal means it is present on one side. It is not present, we can say like in the Chlamydomonas we say it is posterior and it is filling up the base of the cell and all that. But here we have the parietal chloroplast which is present present on one side at the anterior end of the cell. And this chloroplast is associated with one or two pyrenoids. So we don't have a fixed number of pyrenoids depending upon the species. Some species may have one pyrenoid, some species may have two pyrenoids associated with the chloroplast. Then we can say, like I told you, we have embedded bristles. Bristles, or they are known as the seta. These setas are arising from the cells, and cells form small protrusion. These small protrusion form in a way a sheet-like base, protoplasmic sheet. This protoplasmic sheet gives rise to the seta or the bristles, because these protoplasmic sheet in them contains what? They contain blepharoplast. Blepharoplast, they are the granules which give rise to the seta or the bristles, we can say. And this protoplasmic sheet contains a swollen base, swollen knob-like structure in it. And ultimately, later on when we see the mature thallus or the old thallus, bristles fall off and we don't have any seta or the bristles, only protoplasmic sheath remains attached at the base. So on the cells, on the thallus, we see the protoplasmic sheath. Rest of the, we can say seta, they fall off with age. Now, if we see the growth of the collucate, then the growth is always apical. It is always apical. In the erect branches, we have a definite shaped apical cell which will divide to add length to the filaments. And the branches, they are always arising as a lateral outgrowth. And in the prostrate system, we can say the growth takes place by the activity of the marginal meristem. Means the meristematic cells, they are present on the margins and they divide and they give rise to the new branches and they form the prostrate system of the collucate. So this is the vegetative structure and the cell structure of the collucate.